What's up YouTube, and welcome to another draw along with me. Now today we've got this retro vibes design that's mainly focused of course around the text that's in the center. Now there's a number of requirements in the description down below that you're going to need to create this design. There's the canvas size, the palette, and any brushes I've used. Also a link to all the fonts that I've used. Now if you've not installed fonts before, it's actually really easy to do, and I'll also leave a link in the description to a video on how to do that. And once you've grabbed all of those and you're finished with the design, be sure to drop a like down below and share your designs with me on Instagram when you're done. And with all that said, let's get started. Now the first thing we're going to do once you've created your canvas is actually start building the frame around the outside and make our way inside. The first thing we need to go ahead and do is go to our colors, and we're going to use the first column here, which is going to be our two colors for this outer edge. Now we're going to start with the darker color, which is the bottom tone. They're very close to each other. So the first column and the second color down. We're going to go to our brush library and we're going to use the monoline brush. Now my brush size, let's set this brush size to roughly around about 15%. We're then going to go up to our actions. We're going to go to canvas and we're going to turn on the drawing guide. We're going to edit that drawing guide now, and we're going to use the option of symmetry, and we're going to use the option down here of quadrant, and then we're going to hit done when we're ready. And now if we pop some in the corner up here, it's going to do it on all four, for example. Now what we want to do is we want to draw in the vertical lines and then the horizontal lines and then curve those corners. So what we can do is we can just work on the right hand side to start with. We're going to simply put a dot down and drag straight down to the dot on the bottom end. So like so, creating a nice straight line. And then we're going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit and put our canvas at an angle that we can just see the whole thing, and we can start on that dot and go all the way across horizontally to the opposite point. And then that is going to be our frame around the outside. Now what we can do is we can zoom in and let's just refine this corner. I want to create a nice curve in there. So we're going to go ahead and just simply start to introduce a curve in there like so, making it nice and smooth so it runs into that frame nice and easy. So just a nice simple curve like that. And then drag your color to the outer edge. And then you create the first step in creating our frame set. We're then going to go ahead and go to our layers and create another new layer and drag it underneath our frame. We're going to tap on that layer too and turn on a drawing assist. So it's going to use the same guide. We're then going to go to our colors and we're going to move across into this column here. So we've got the second column and the top color. I'm going to tap on that top color. And now what we want to do is replicate the same with the vertical lines. So we're going to go ahead and pop our pen down roughly here, draw a straight line all the way down, and pop your pen on that end point or start point. And then go ahead and do the same as we did before. So we're going to do the horizontal line now, side to side, just go all the way across, make sure it's nice and straight. And then once we've done that, we can drag and drop our color into the outer edge. Now the TV itself had a sort of bulbous look to it, so we need to create a rounded look. Now what we want to do is we kind of want to pop like a dot in the sort of corner here, so it's sort of diagonal from the corner there. And we need to start refining our curves. We need to make it sort of less straight on this edge, but still nice and curved in the corner. So what we're going to do is we're going to start from this dot that I've just placed there. So just going to create a nice curve that just runs out and then into that point, like so. And we're going to do the same at the top edge. Now I'm going to just use this point, create a nice curve into the frame. We can drag and drop our color into that gap if we want to, just to see how we're doing. And we're almost there, except we've got a nice pointy corner at the minute. So we just want to sort of round this corner off. So just start to round off the corner, make it nice and smooth. And then when you zoom out, you should now have that nice warped look to the edges. So now we've done that, we can now go ahead and start to just add in a little bit of filler, and then we can work on the details. So let's go ahead and go to our layers. Let's create a new layer and drag it underneath all our layers in front of our background color. Now we're actually going to go to our color palette, and we're going to go ahead and grab this color here at the bottom of the fourth column, or the middle color of the fourth column. Drag and drop it onto your screen. We're then going to zoom out. We're going to go to our color and we're going to switch it for the top color in the fourth column. We're then going to go to our selection tool and the rectangle option, and we're going to go to color fill. We're going to turn that on, And then we're just going to draw a box that roughly runs halfway through the screen like so, and let go. And then tap on your selection tool when you're done. And then we can blend those two colors together to make a nice gradient by going up to our adjustments, Gaussian Blur, and simply swipe from left to right to 100%, and you'll get a nice gradient in the background there. So you swipe from left to right and you increase the percentage. Tap on your adjustments when you're done, and now we've got the backdrop for our design. So while we're working on the outer edge, let's stay there for a second. So at the top, we've got our outer frame, the very dark one that ran around the outside when we first started. Let's create a new layer above it. Let's tap on the layer and clipping mask it to the actual frame itself. We're then going to go to our colors, and then we're going to grab this color here, the second color in the second column. And then we're going to go to our layers. We're going to go ahead and tap on the frame itself, so the layer underneath the clipped one. Tap on it and use the option of select. We want to turn off color fill. We want to invert that selection. So now we've selected everything but the frame. We go up to our layers, go to the clip layer, tap on that layer and fill it. So what we did there was we filled in the inside, but because the layer is clipped, you can't see any of it. And that's perfect, because now what we're going to do is, we're going to go to our adjustments, Gaussian Blur. If I zoom in right in the corner of this frame, we want to see the color just start to spill into there. There you go. So if I do that backwards and forwards, you can see that glow start to come in. And we just want to add something really subtle, around about sort of 7% will do the trick. And then tap on your adjustments when you're done. And because we're done with that now, we can simply pinch those two layers together and that frame's completely done. We then move on to this layer here, the main frame around the telly. We're going to go ahead and create a new layer to start with. Tap on that layer and clipping mask it. We're then going to go to our brush library and continue with the same color we've got. We're going to go to airbrushing and the soft brush. We're going to go back to our layer though, and the empty layer that we just created, we're going to tap on it and we're going to drawing assist it. So we only need to color in one corner and it will do it in all four for us. We're going to use the airbrush here, roughly around about sort of 5%, just to add a little bit of a glow to start with. So you want to sort of take a look and make sure you can see the entire quadrant. And we're going to start in the middle very lightly and just go down this edge and then just bring in a little bit of color. Now we're going to have to go back and forth potentially just to build that color up. And we're just trying to build up a bit of a glow. So it's very subtle, but again, you can see the lighter blue compared to the original base color. Go to your colors. Let's start to add in some more tones. So we're going to go ahead and grab the middle color here of the fifth column. We're going to be really light with this and reduce our brush size down to about 3%. And in the corner, we just want to reflect that lighting sort of hitting the curve. So I'm just going to drag from diagonally in that corner and then just maybe push that out. So very lightly just push that across the bottom edge of the screen there. And you should already start to see a much more of a 3D look to your screen. So I was super light, and if you're struggling with your sensitivity, just drop your opacity down if you need to. We can then go ahead and kind of repeat the same movement we did before, just to brighten up this edge a little bit. So I'm just going to go down here, just to add in a bit more brightness, keeping my pressure quite consistent as I do, and that's already come to life really well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start on the outer edge. So we've worked on the inside here. We're just going to go around the very outside edge very lightly again, just creating a very light border. And because we've got the quadrant on, it's gone down here and across here, filled that all in for us. Let's then add a splash of color. So let's go up to our colors and grab this bright pink on the right hand side all on its own. Now again, we want to be super light with this. So all we're going to do is just go down the frame on the inside, splashing on some colour, so going back on ourselves twice, just to build up that glow from the telly. And now we have the lighting around the telly. Now if you want to, you can go to your layers now and actually swipe that layer to the left and duplicate it. Then tap on the top one and tap on the N, that's normal. And then we're going to scroll that down to color dodge. But we're just going to tone that down a little bit. So we're just going to lower the opacity down and we're going to tone it down until we just get a bit more of a brighter tone. So maybe about 40%. Will do the trick. Then what you can do is, if you're happy with your full frame, you can simply pinch all three of these layers together. You can see them then sort of merge onto one, and we're done with our outer frame. Let's then move on to the inside. So the first thing we want to do is focus on our main area in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and go to our background gradient here in our layers, and we're going to create a new layer. We're going to go up to our colors first of all. and we're going to grab this color here, the top of the 5th column. We're then going to go to our actions and we're going to go ahead and add our text in. So go to add text. You may need to just drag it down if it goes off the screen. And then what you can do is you can double tap on the text and you'll get this sub menu pop up. And the first thing we want to go ahead and do is change the text. So we tap on the keyboard. We want to, of course, change this to retro. So we're going to pop it in capitals and change it to retro. Then double tap on the text to select it and go to your font here. So Inya is the default. And we want to scroll down through our fonts to find the one that we need for today's design. And the font you need to try and find, you're actually going to need to scroll up, and it's called the Be Bigger Over. And then we're going to simply use the size scale here, just increase that to roughly around about sort of 48 point will do the trick, and hit done. And then grab your cursor and then use snapping in the bottom left hand corner here. And then just position that on the orange line to let you know you're nice and central. Something like that will do the trick. Now I need to go ahead and change the color of the text. So I'm going to double tap on it again to select all the word and go up to our colors. And we're going to grab this color, the middle color on the 4th column, just give you that nice dark tone to work off of. Then go to your layers and create a new layer. Tap on that new layer and clip it to the text. And then we're going to go ahead and start adding in all the chromatic looks. So go to your colors and double tap in the top left hand corner to select white. Go to your brush library and make sure under calligraphy you're still using the monoline brush. Now the brush size for now is set to 10%. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in, and we need to start here and just make sure we create a point that starts there and draw all the way through the lettering. And we just want to create a nice wavy look all the way through, give you that nice glossy look. So I'm going to start here and I'm just going to create that look. Now I'm not letting my pen go off the screen. I'm just letting that run through all these letters, go all the way around until I meet my start point again, so that I can drag and drop my white into the bottom area like so. What we then want to do is start to build on top of that, and on the same layer we're going to go up to our colors. We're going to grab this color at the top of the 5th column. We're going to go to our brush library. We're going to go to airbrushing and the soft brush. We're going to set that to about sort of 4%. On the top edge we want to go ahead and work from left to right, just glossing in that top little bit of color, just creating that nice little brighter edge on the very top. We can build on top of that again by going to our colors and switching back to white by double tapping in the top left hand corner, and then just towards the top edge, just create a nice little gloss backwards and forwards like so. And then let's go ahead and darken the bottom area up. So go up to your colors, grab the middle color there of the 4th column, and then we're going to go from left to right and create a gradient from the white chromatic edge down to sort of a darker edge at the bottom. So go backwards and forwards until I create something a little bit like that. Soften that up where necessary. And now we're going to go ahead and add in some really tiny details. So we're just going to start off by going to our colors and double tapping in the top left hand corner to select white again. We're going to reduce our brush size down to about sort of 2%, and we're going to create some nice sharp crisp edges on the bottom. So I'm actually going to reduce my brush size a bit smaller than that to 1%, and then we're just going to create some nice bright highlight crisp edges. So I'm just simply going to work from left to right here. See that, just right at the bottom, just creating some nice bright edges where the sort of 3D-ness of the shape comes to life a bit more. So any part of the letter that faces down, so the underside in here, just working from left to right like so, and also slightly pointed towards the middle. So I'm going to go down this edge here. We'll then move across to the E, so we just work from left to right on that bottom edge. Don't need to add anything here necessarily on mine because it's nice and bright, but if yours isn't, you'll need to do that. And then the right hand side as well, so a little bit on there, a little bit on here, the underside of this part of the E, and also the right hand side edge. These are just going to be nice little extra accents as we make our way through. I'm going to zoom in on the T, and we're just going to do the bottom edges. So bottom here, across here too. And then we're going to reverse the angle. So we're still going to do the bottom, but we're going to do the left hand side now. So all the lighting's pointing inwards. So the bottom edge of the R, like so. We're going to do the bottom edge of here as well. And then we're going to do the left hand edge. So just down this edge, underside of here, like so, and then the O, the bottom edge again, bottom edge inside here. We can then also go down this edge as well. And then this edge right around this bottom corner. Now certain bits of mine are slightly brighter than they are in certain areas, and I think that's okay. I think that adds to the chromatic look a little bit. And then we're just going to quickly make this a little bit more 3D. So we're going to go up to our layers. We're going to go to the text layer underneath and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. We're going to tap on the layer underneath and tap on it and rasterize. It's basically changed it from a text layer now to just a normal layer like you've drawn on the text. Tap on the layer and alpha lock it. Go to your colors and grab the top color here on that 5th column. Go back to your layer, tap on that layer and fill it. And turn off the alpha lock on that layer. Because now we need to go ahead and just do a little bit of work just to join up these corners. Now what we're going to use is we're going to use the selection tool. We're going to use freehand and we're going to turn on the color fill. And what that would do is from left to right on the R here, I'll just tap on this corner and I need to link it to this corner. And then I just go sort of over here, creating a little shape just to fill that in. And you don't need to turn your tool on and off. You can just simply continue corner to corner, create a shape, tap on your initial dot. And that's going to start to link up all your lines. For example here, I just need to create a little conjoining little shape. I'm going to move across to the E. And I'm just going to do this right hand side. So I'm just going to start on this point to this point, creating a triangle, this point to this point, and then this point to this point, and then go around again. The T now, we just need to link up this point to this point, and then up here, this point to this point. It's quite quick and easy to do this, and that you start to fill in the gaps that will tell you and make you look like your text is nice and 3D now. We're now moving on to the R. Up here, creating a little conjoining line. Point to point, link up those nice little corners. And then this one here to this one here. It's a nice big one, that one. And then the O, you've got rounded corners, but you just need to tap on the point highest part of the corner. You'll see that if I zoom right in, it's just creating a straight line across, and then just link that up, and that will just connect them two together. Likewise down here in the bottom right, furthest edge of the corner, and just link them up. And when you zoom out, you'll end up with all these little sort of shapes that you've created, but just tap on your selection tool when you're done, and you've now got some nice 3D looking text. There's one more step to add in, just a little shadow on that 3D part. We're going to go to our layers. I'm going to tap on this layer and alpha lock it. We're going to go to our colors and we're going to grab this color in the top left hand corner of our palette. We're going to continue with our brush being the airbrush, and every time we added in a little highlight underneath, we're going to add a shadow. So I'm just going to increase my brush size up to about sort of 1 or 2% and just brush left to right, creating a little shadow under here like so. And then we're going to do the same here, so down this edge and across. So you can literally just follow the shape. So just a little one like that, little one across here, move across to the E. I'm going to go around the bottom edge, creating a shadow, across this edge here, and across this edge here. Take a look at the T, again the bottom edge of all three of these sections. It's just a little extra feature, just adding some extra depth. And then on the R, we're going to go down this edge here and across here, down this edge and across here, down here and across. And if you have any excess such as here, just simply go up to your colors, grab the top color in the 5th column, and then just paint that back in with the correct color, just like so. And then switch your color back to the top color in the 1st column. And go around this edge here and around this bottom edge, across this top edge, and then a little bit down here as well. And that, when we zoom out, just gives your text a really cool 3D look to it. Now we're actually going to leave that as is now. We're going to move on to the rest of the design. And the first thing to then do is go up to our colors and grab the bright pink on the far right hand side all on its own. We're then going to go to our actions again and add in the next bit of text. We're just going to go up to actions and add text. Again, you might have to grab your cursor and just drag that down into the center of your canvas. And then when you do, just double tap on the text. We're going to switch it out to our next font. which if you tap on the font there and scroll through your fonts, you will find the Painting with Chocolate font. And then when you've done that, if you tap with your finger on the keyboard, you'll get the full keyboard pop up. And you just want to change this into all capitals, and you want to change this to Vibes. Then go ahead and grab your cursor and just scale this up with the uniform option, nice and big, until it's big enough that it's just wider than the retro text itself, to something roughly like that. Then go ahead and grab your layers. Then go ahead and tap on Vibes and drag it above the retro text and the extra colors that we made and pop it above it. Tap on it and then unclip it if it does. We want it to sit in front of the retro text. So that's already the main sort of focal point of this done. A couple of extra things to do. We're going to go up to our layers. The retro text we created before, so this is all the extra little additions on top and the text itself. If you want to, you can actually pinch those two together to save a layer. And if you want to one further, you can pinch the two retro layers together, save yourself an extra layer. So that's all on one layer now. The Vibes layer, we're going to swipe it to the left and duplicate it. We're going to tap on the bottom one. We're going to go to Adjustments and Gaussian Blur. And then when we swipe from left to right, we just want to blur that out until we hit 20%. That's just going to add a nice little bit of color around the edge there. Tap on your adjustments when you're done. The only other thing I want to do with the Vibes text is go to my layers. Above the Vibe text layer, we're going to create a new layer. We're going to tap on that layer and clipping mask it down to the text. We're going to go ahead and go to our colors. We're going to double tap in the top left hand corner to select white. We're then going to go to our brush library. We're going to go to, let's go to painting, and then you're going to want to scroll down until you hit the oil paint brush. We're going to reduce that down in size a little bit to about sort of 19%. I think that should do it. Maybe a bit smaller than that, about 10. And then on the inside of the text, we're just going to sort of draw in some little extra lines in there. Nice and random, the better. And just follow the curvature of the letter, so like so. Because we're just going to add some extra cool accents in a second with the layer effect. So just follow the curvature of the letter. And you'll just basically add in some nice white streaks here and there for a moment. Backwards and forwards on the S there. That's looking pretty cool. Then go up to your layers, tap on the N, and then scroll that down until you hit the option of overlay. And then what that will do is that will just show that you've got a nice brighter tone of pink on top of that pink. Just a little extra detail, that's all. Then we can go up to our layers. If you want to, again, you can pinch all three of the Vibes layer together to save yourself some layers. And that's all on one now. We're now going to go down to our background gradient, create a new layer in front of it. We've still got white selected and that's perfect. We're going to go up to our brush library. We're going to go back to calligraphy and we're going to use the monoline brush. Now the size of the monoline brush now needs to be a little bit bigger, about 20%, and we're going to draw in the triangle for our little neon line that's going to sit in the background. So I'm going to go ahead now and draw in the first part, so maybe sort of down here up to here. So you can see that's slightly off and a bit skew. Maybe something a bit like that. Then from exactly the same point, you want to make sure it's nice and bang on. You want to draw that line out, maybe to the sort of left-hand side here, a bit lower, like so. And then join those two lines up again. Make sure you drop your pen right on that dot and link it all the way up to that point. And then you've got your little triangle ready to add in the neon effect. And for this, we're going to go ahead and go to our layers. This layer here we created for the white neon bars. We're going to swipe it to the left and duplicate it. The bottom one out the two, we're going to tap on it, alpha lock it, go up to your colors. We're going to grab this color here at the top of the 5th column, go back to your layers, tap on that layer and fill it. Then tap on the layer and turn off the alpha lock. Now we're going to go ahead and swipe this layer to the left and duplicate it until we end up with 5 of them in total. So you should have 5 blue triangles. The bottom one out of the 5, we're going to tap on it. We're going to go to our adjustments. We're going to go to Gaussian Blur. We're going to swipe from left to right until we add in a nice big sort of 40% blur. Now it's really going to be diffused at this point, so it's just adding in a nice spread of the color to start with. Tap on your adjustments when you're done, so you'll vaguely be able to see it still. But go to your layers, then go up a layer, and tap on the N and change that to add for A. And then go to your adjustments, go to Gaussian Blur, and swipe from left to right. So this time you add in a 20% Gaussian Blur. And these layers are all going to build up on top of each other. So tap on your adjustments when you're done. Go back to your layers. Go up a layer. Change this also to add. So tap on the N and change it to add. Go to your adjustments. Gaussian Blur, and swipe from left to right. This time adding in a 10%. Then tap on your adjustments when you're done. Go to your layers, go up one more layer, tap on that N and also change that to add. Go to your adjustments, Gaussian Blur, and swipe from left to right, adding in a 5% blur. Tap on your adjustments when you're done. And then one more layer to go. We go up a layer again, we tap on the N and change that to add. Go to our adjustments, Gaussian Blur, and swipe from left to right. So this time just adding in a 3% blur. And then that will just give us a really tight glow to the bars. And we've got our nice neon vibe there in the background. And now the rest of the design's super simple. We're just going to go to our layers. We're going to go down to our gradient layer for the background and create a new layer. We're going to go to our colors. And we're going to grab this color here at the top of the second column. We're going to go to our brush library and we're going to find the collection that I've added in the description down below. It will be called Skyline in your collection. And we want to use Skyline Brush 96. Now feel free to change it if you want to, but I felt this one looked the best. And then you want to make your brush size roughly around about sort of 26%, so that when you tap in the middle of the screen like so, you get the entire stamp. And then you can go ahead and go to your cursor and just scale this up until it fits how you want it to. So I'm going to move mine up to the top right hand corner here, filling up the majority of the right hand edge of the screen, something roughly like that. Tap on your cursor when you're done. Now we're not going to leave the left hand side nice and empty. We're actually going to go to our layers. We're going to create a new layer. We're going to go to our colors. We're going to grab this bright pink on the right hand side. We're going to go back to our brush library. We're going to go to airbrushing and the soft brush. Going to make the brush nice and big, about sort of 30%. And in this bottom left hand corner, very lightly just add in a brighter bit of color, just like so, as if the sort of sun's running off on the left corner there. Now we can go ahead and add some stars, and we'll do this on the same layer we just added. So go up to your colors and double tap in the top left hand corner to select white. You're going to need the stipple collection that's in the description down below that I always use for stars. So stipple collection and the light one. The brush size is currently set to about 15%, and we're just going to tap away in this top sort of left hand corner of the design. So inside here, top left hand side, you maybe add a couple on the right there where it just peers through the gap in the skyline. Drop in a nice collection of them across the sky there. Maybe increase your brush size up to about sort of 30%. Add in some bigger ones. Tapping away. Don't go too mad with this, but more so towards the top left hand corner than anything. And then maybe increase it again up to about 45% this time. And add in some larger ones on the canvas. You can hear me just tapping away, adding in some big bright stars in that top left hand corner. So that's actually it for the middle of the design, but there's a couple of extra little touches just to really make this stand out. So we're actually going to go up to our layers, and then just above our vibes text and retro text, we're going to keep with the color white. We're going to go up to our actions. We're going to add some more text, and this is the final font that we use. We're going to grab our cursor and just move the text down. We tap on our cursor and then double tap on the text. We're going to double tap on the text itself, and we're going to use the word play. We're going to make it all capitals, and then we're going to add in a pointed bracket on the right hand side. So we're going to go to our extra little option here, and if you swipe down on a key, you pick the top option above it. Double tap on the text, tap on the fonts, and then scroll down your fonts until you find the font that I've added in the description, Retron 2000. That's going to give us that real VHS type look to it. Grab your cursor and then scale that down and just position this in the top left hand corner of the screen. So something maybe like that for a second. And then go ahead and go to your layer, swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Grab your cursor and just move that straight down into the bottom left hand corner. And you can just add these extra cool little details. We've got play in the top left, which we'll adjust shortly. In the bottom left hand corner, we can double tap on the text, go to our keyboard, and maybe change this to a duration. So 0, 0, 0, 0, and then change this to whatever you want. So I'm going to just make it sort of 12 seconds. Zoom in out a little bit. I want to grab my cursor, just move that. So almost the left hand side here just matches up to the play edge. So something roughly like that. Tap on your cursor when you're done. And then you can maybe add one more. So go to your layer, swipe it to the left and duplicate it. Grab your cursor and just move that over to the right hand side this time. Let's put some in the bottom right corner. So once you've done that, tap on your cursor, double tap on the text and double tap on it again to get your full suite of options, and then tap on your keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and change this to a year. So I'm going to go ahead and make some at random. So maybe the 12th of the 7th, and we'll go for a 1980s vibe. So we're going to go 1980, and then grab your cursor, just move that so the right edge is nice and on the screen, like so. So you get something a bit more like that, and tap on your cursor. Now we're going to go ahead and warp the text so it matches the curvature of the screen. So we're going to go up to our cursor. We're going to use the uniform option to start with and just scale that down and just make that a little bit sort of smaller, like so. Then grab the distort option and grab this middle node on the left hand side and just point that down a little bit. That's already going to look like it sort of gets a lot closer, and then maybe just move this node up a little bit more, like so. Then you should have a bit more of a diagonal sort of look to your text, and it will match up the curvature of the screen a bit more. And then we're going to repeat that for the other areas as well. So go back to your layers, grab the text that's in the bottom left hand corner that you added, grab your cursor. First of all, scale it down to match up if you did scale yours down a little bit further. And I'm pretty happy with that. Make it a tiny bit bigger. And then grab the distort option. Grab the middle node on the right and just point that down, like so. And then tap on your cursor when you're done. And that will nicely start to curve up a little bit more. Then we're going to go ahead and adjust the play. So we're going to go up to our layers, go to the play layer, grab your cursor, scale it down in height a little bit, and then grab your distort option, and then grab this node on the right and just point that upwards. Tap on your cursor when you're done. Now we only added the pointy arrow here, but we didn't link it up just yet. So we're going to go up to our brush library. We're going to go to calligraphy and switch back to the monoline brush. Make the monoline brush as small as you can on 1% and just block in this until we make a nice triangle. Like so. Then when you zoom out, you've got your nice play button in the top left hand corner. Now we're very nearly there with this tutorial. We're going to go up to our layers. We're going to pinch all three of those layers together to save on our layer count. So now all the white text of the actual tally is all on one layer. We're going to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to tap on that layer and drawing assist it. We're going to go to our brush library, go to airbrushing and the soft brush. We're going to make our brush size a bit smaller than we had it before. So what's this up to? 10%. Let's drop it to about 8. And all we're going to do is we're going to go from left to right, just on the top edge, which will do it at the bottom as well, just very lightly. We just want to sort of create the sort of 3D glass look to the top of the text. And then go to your layer, tap on the N for normal and just change that a little bit to lighter color. We go up to our layers and create a new layer. We go to our colors and double tap on the left hand side here to select this middle gray. We then want to go ahead and drag and drop that onto the screen. Now that'll get rid of our entire design for a second. We're then going to go to our adjustments. We're going to go to halftone, and then from here we should be able to swipe from left to right. Now the bigger you swipe from the right hand side, you can see at the top it's 14%, the bigger these dots will be in the screen. So you may or may not be able to see that, but if I zoom right in, you can see it's making dots. It's kind of making like a old retro look to it. Now we want to scale that down. We don't want them too big, but we want to be able to see them. So I'm going to drop it down to roughly around about sort of 7%. It still gives us that nice look to it, but it's not too big. Then tap on your adjustments when you're done. Now, of course, we need to then see the design that's underneath. So for this, all we do is go up to our layers. We tap on the N for normal and we scroll down to overlay. And straight away, you'll start to see that your design has started to change quite a bit. And by zooming in, you'll see all those dots. But as an overall look, you'll see it's quite distorted now. It's got more of sort of a pixelated look to it. Step is just to add in some horizontal lines that just gives that tally the real retro look to it. So go up to your layers and create a new layer. We're going to want to go ahead and tap on the N for normal and change that to overlay. We're then going to want to go to our brush library. And then you're going to want to go to imported right at the bottom and find the retro lines brush that I've added. And then from here, I've maxed out the brush size. And you're going to want to just maybe zoom out a pinch, and in one movement, so backwards and forwards, you're going to want to cover the entire screen. So I'm going to go like this, backwards and forwards, filling in the entire screen until you fill the whole thing in. Then go to your layers, Tap on the O for overlay and lower that right down until maybe you get to something about sort of 15%. Tap away. Now there's actually one extra little touch that we need to do. This little frame around the outside, we want to add a little shadow just to sort of add that 3D look to it. Now this little edge that we created here, we're going to want to head and swipe it to the left and duplicate it. The bottom one out the two, tap on the layer and alpha lock it. Go up to your colors and double tap at the bottom of the disk to select black. Go back to your layer, tap on that layer and fill it. Tap on the layer and turn off the alpha lock. And then go up to your adjustments, Gaussian Blur, and swipe from left to right until you get roughly around about sort of a 20% blur in there. And again, that's really going to help with the dimensions of the telly. You can then tap on your adjustments when you're done. And then if I pinch with two fingers and go full screen with 4, we end up with today's finished design. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, drop a like down below, helps the channel out an awful lot. And as always, be sure to share your designs with me over on Instagram. There's a link to all my socials in the description down below. As always, a massive shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. I'll throw their names up on the screen now. Patreon supporters get access to 3 exclusive tutorials every single month. I'll throw up the latest 3 that I've been posting over there. Patreon supporters also get early access to videos, sneak peeks of upcoming designs, and much, much more. So hit the link in the description down below and come and show your support. And as always, if you're interested in any of the equipment I'm using, the Sketchboard Pro, that you can actually use code JOELCREATE to get yourself 10% off, or otherwise a Paperlike screen cover that I use, or a pen tips grip and glove, there's links to all my equipment in the description down below. And with all that said, I'll see you in the next one.